Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And in today's range report, we're going to be reviewing a gun from a company that has the motto of one gun, one gunsmith. And of course, I am talking about Nighthawk Custom, the makers of fine 1911 and 2011 style pistols. And the model we will be shooting and reviewing today is called the Fire Hawk. Now, this is a firearm that Nighthawk Custom says balances a traditional 1911 styling with modern enhancements. This particular version is the double stack version, so it's more of a 2011 style pistol. They do offer this as a single stack option as well. The profile of this pistol looks like a government size, but really it's more of a commander size because the barrel is 4.25 inches, and we have a built-in compensator here on the end. And this addresses something usually I don't like about 2011 style pistols, in that we do have these little scallops on the bottom of the slide, and as you see, this compensator is beautifully blended into this slide, and Nighthawk Custom calls this a French border. So I really like the styling of this gun. So I'm really anxious to see if this gun shoots like all of the other 2011 pistols I have reviewed recently. And this one might be one that I would be interested in the future because of the way that it looks. It doesn't look like a big blocky pistol like some of the other ones I have reviewed. But before we take this gun to the range and find out how it shoots, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this very beautiful pistol. He's a local fan and subscriber. You've heard me talk about him before. His name is D, and he has an amazing collection. So once again, D, thank you so much for lending one of your awesome guns for me to review. As always, I want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here, and I could not do this without them. And if you guys want to join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month and see all these videos early, there is a link in the description below. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who provides the ammunition for these range reports and makes them financially feasible for me, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And yes, once again, I am reviewing another Nighthawk Custom, a gun that essentially is a 1911 style gun. And I know if you're here, you love 1911s, and you probably have quite a few in your collection from various makers. And you might be in the market for a set of custom wood panel grips to make your 1911s unique and one of a kind. Well, I have the perfect grip company for you. Brownworks. Brownworks is a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. Mark is an artist and he's a craftsman. In fact, the 1911 is one of his specialties. He can apply custom logos, custom engravings, custom textures, finish these grips in a wide variety of colors. He can apply exotic materials like snakeskin and alligator skin, as well as create his own laminate woods. So I'm going to put a link to his website in the comment section below, as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. I'm going to ask you guys to go over there and see everything he has to offer. Every set of grips he makes is one of a kind and unique. So please check out his website, buy a set of custom grips, and when you place that order, please tell Mark the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so once again, what is the pistol we will be reviewing today? The Nighthawk Custom Fire Hawk. This is a commander gun, but with a government style profile because that compensator is built into the barrel and is blended beautifully into that slide. It has a 4.25 inch bull barrel. And once again, this particular variant has the double stack upgrade, but you can get it as a single stack and in 9, 10mm, and 45 ACP. And once again, the thing that I like the most about this from just handling it here on the workbench is this compensator and how it is blended into the slide. And once again, they call this the French border. I absolutely love that. And I had no idea they had an offering with that style. So hopefully this thing is going to shoot fantastic. So before we get this to the range, I always want to talk about the things that I like and don't like. And I always want to start with the positive first. And the first thing I love about this gun is the 1911 stylings. I'm a huge fan of the 1911. And of course, the 1911 is John Moses Browning's masterpiece. And I think everybody got into these guns because they love 1911s. Now, the next thing I love about this gun is the 2011 stylings of this gun. Being that it is a 2011, we do have that double stack with the 17 round capacity. We have all of the 2011 style controls. We have this very nice beaver tail, skeletonized hammer. That safety selector is long. We have that slide stop that is perfectly milled into that frame. It fits in there perfect. It's just long enough for you to reach, but also it is out of the way. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I also want to talk about the trigger. Now, normally you guys know I am not a big fan of these flat face triggers. But when it comes to a Nighthawk Custom, these things are built so well that they feel so good. So I can usually overlook that. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera. I'm going to get the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge, and I'm going to show you what this trigger is all about. So to begin, I want to show you a close-up of this trigger, its take-up, and its reset. So let's go ahead and drop the magazine, ensure there is no ammunition in it, and then of course safety check the firearm and visually inspect that chamber and make sure we have no rounds in there. And it looks like we are good. So let's go ahead and take a look at this take-up first, and it's very short. There's absolutely no grit in there. You come back to a very definitive wall. I don't think it's going to break too lightly though. That's really nice, very crisp. And then here is our reset, and that is really short, and you have just a little bit of take up and you're back at that wall. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a competition trigger, but it's definitely going to be better than many other range guns. So I think it kind of falls into that nice valley between a practical gun and a competition gun. But let's get out the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge and let's see what this trigger measures at. Let me go ahead and clear the averages. And for our first pull, we have 3 pounds, 14.2 ounces. £3 pounds, 10.8 ounces. £3 pounds, 12.2 ounces. £3 pounds, 9.3 ounces. And finally we have 3 pounds, 11.0 ounces, which gives us an average of 3 pounds, 11.5 ounces. So I think that is a really nice trigger pull, especially for a gun that I think is trying to be more of a practical range or defensive gun instead of a competition gun. Sometimes 2011s can have triggers that are simply too light, but this is in that nice area between both of those types of guns, and I really do like that. So now let's get this to the range and see how it shoots. So as always, I'm going to start with a target at 7 yards. I'm going to put 1 magazine through this, and I actually think these are the first rounds through this pistol. So I know this aim point acro is not zeroed, but hopefully I'll get a good group and a good understanding of how this gun shoots, and then I may have to adjust it. So let's go to the range and get my initial thoughts and opinions. And obviously we're off to a good start. This gun is very comfortable to shoot, but when it comes to its accuracy, it's shooting a little bit low, but the group is really good. So I'm going to need to adjust this aim point acro, and we'll go back to the range and try it again at this same distance and see if I can do any better. But before we do that, I am reminded about something about many of these 2011 pistols I usually don't like, and that's going to be the compensator, and more specifically, the type of compensator that is mated to the end of a barrel. I understand why many people like this feature because they want to eliminate muzzle rise, but I feel if you want this, you should really go with a gun with a ported barrel, something that is going to have high pressure gas as the projectile passes the porting to be more effective. I really think that when it comes to these muzzle compensators, they just don't do as good of a job as they could. I really kind of feel like they're more for decoration than anything else, but ported barrels definitely work better, and this gun does have a little bit more muzzle rise than I was expecting. Now, these do add a little bit of weight on the end, and I do think that helps reduce that muzzle rise, but as a compensator, I don't know. I think I'd rather have a ported barrel. I also like the look of ported barrels just a little bit more, so maybe that's just a personal preference. All right, so I did say this gun was shooting a little bit low, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust this aim point acro, still have the target at 7 yards, put another magazine through it, and hopefully I'll be able to get this group on the center of the target. And pretty much I have exactly the same thoughts and opinions after the first magazine. This gun continues to shoot really well, and now I have that group hitting the center of the target. This gun so far seems like it's a tack driver, and a lot of that I think has to do with this really nice trigger. It's a great balance between a practical range gun and a target competition gun. I kind of feel like it's the best of both worlds. All right, so now we're going to go back to the range. I'm going to double the distance on this target, and I'm going to go for the head on this silhouette, and hopefully this gun will continue to group this well. So let's go back to the range, put another magazine through this, and find out. And to my dismay, unfortunately this group opened up a little bit more than what I was hoping. But before you tell me in the comment section to go get more training, I actually typically shoot Nighthawk Customs this way at this intermediate distance. There's something about these guns, and 2011s in general, that are tack drivers for me, especially at about 7 to 10 yards and then 20 to 25 yards. But when it comes to staccatos, I shoot them really well at 15 yards, at 17 yards, but there's something about Nighthawk Customs that I just don't do it as well for some reason. And this gun is performing exactly like the other Nighthawk Customs. At this intermediate distance, the group just opens up a little bit more than I would hope. But only at about 5 to 10 yards closer, it's a tack driver. But now we need to go back to the range and see if this theory holds true. As I said, typically when it comes to all 2011s at 20 to 25 yards, they're really good again. So we're going to go back to the range, set up the target at 25 yards, and hopefully I'm going to be able to tighten up this group when I'm shooting this from a bench. And like I suspected it would, when I took as much of the human element out of the equation, this gun once again shoots really well. Now, it's not the tightest group of any 2011 I have ever shot. That still goes to the Staccato XL, but this gun is definitely better than your typical range accuracy, but it's not as good as some of the competition guns I've shot in the past. But once again, at that intermediate distance, I just don't seem to shoot Nighthawk Customs that good for some reason. I'm not saying they're bad guns, but there's something about them that I just struggle with at 15 yards. All right, so the next test I want to do is the hollow point test. I said that this gun is a blend between a practical gun and a target gun. So most likely, if you bought this model, you're probably going to want to use it for self-defense or maybe as a daily carry. And in that capacity, you want to make sure it's going to run hollow points. So let's go back to the range, put a magazine of hollow points through it, just make sure they feed and that we have no issues. And pretty much like all Nighthawk Customs, we have no failures to feed, failures to extract, failures to fire. These guns just run like tops. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to buy this gun for a self-defense gun or a carry gun, I think it is a good option. It's an expensive option, but it definitely is a good option. All right, so the next test I want to do is another defensive use test. And I want to test three things. I want to test number one, can I shoot the gun fast? I'm expecting to with this really nice trigger. I also want to see, can I drop this magazine, get a fresh one in there, and the gun back in action quickly? Well, while this gun doesn't have a huge jet funnel on it, it does have a pretty darn nice mag well, which aids in feeding. So I think it's going to work good. And then lastly, I want to know, is this gun point shootable? I always say, when you have to use your gun in self-defense, you might not have time to draw your weapon, get your sights on the target. Your adrenaline might be pumping through your veins, and all you can do is point the gun and pray. And if that's the case, is it a naturally pointing firearm? So let's go back to the range and test these three things out. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to shoot it fast, point shoot it well, and be able to change out the magazine quickly. So let's go back to the range and find out. And I think this gun passes all of those tests with flying colors. Can I shoot this gun fast? Well, yeah, probably faster than any other 2011 I have ever reviewed. And that's because this trigger is so nice and so well balanced. Can I drop the magazine, get a fresh one in there really quick and get the gun back in action? You bet. And I think this magwell is perfectly designed for that. Now, is this gun point shootable? Well, all those rounds were on target. They were just a little bit low, so I really can't complain. It didn't group as well as maybe other guns I've shot, but I'm pretty happy with it. As I said, it would have stopped the threat. So what are my final thoughts on the Nighthawk Custom Fire Hawk? This is obviously a great pistol, and its strength is that it is a well-balanced gun. It could be used as a range gun, a defensive gun, a competition gun, or a target gun, but it might not fill all those roles perfectly. So if you're in the market for a gun like this, you would have to decide, are the strengths and weaknesses of this gun worth it, or would you want a more specialized model? But if you're looking for a do-all 2011, this might be the way to go. The fit and the finish is beautiful. Everything you would expect from a Nighthawk Custom is here, and I really love the styling of this gun with the scallops here in the front. So on my star system, how would I rate the Nighthawk Custom Fire Hawk? Well, I'm going to give this 4.5 stars out of 5. My only issue was the accuracy at intermediate distances, but everything else, it ran great. So what do you guys think about the Nighthawk Custom Fire Hawk? Does a do-all 2011 interest you? I would love to know in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.